Well, welcome on an Autobike Racing Without Mercy. And on the deck today is how I prepared for the Zwift Racing season without my beloved WattBike Atom. We were moving house, so it was in storage. It's only just come back and it's still broken. Hence, here I am today, still on the WattBike Pro in the gym. Most of the training was done outside. The video includes thrills, spills, strength training. Please do stay tuned throughout the strength training. I'll keep it brief, but I cannot recommend the strength training enough in order to kind of develop the core strength, the leg strength and the upper body strength, all of which is integral, I reckon, for the Zwift Racing, the intensity there, but also dialing up the power and the out of the saddle work on the steeper climbs. It also included an ascent up something called the Colid with Nick Brownbill, more of that to come in a different video, plus using the Matlock hill climb events as a little carrot for me to dial up the intensity and get the right mindset to prepare me for the Zwift Racing season. Hopefully be back involved in some of that over the course of next week. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the video. Well, here I am on a Friday at London's premier turbo trainer. So having had 4 full days off the bike, a grease the groove gym session and all kinds of fruit and vegetable, when I woke up this morning, my body was saying, yep, you're good to go, you feel okay, sleep was decent. Therefore, on the deck this morning is a backpedal.cc training Ed Laverak's hill climber special. I'm looking to prepare for a couple of hill climb events at the back end of October, therefore need to build the VO2 Max. Also want to take part in the Zwift season, therefore going to need a bit more VO2. Wowee, those are absolutely disgusting. They didn't look so bad on paper. I knew they'd be difficult, but horrid. That 15-second sprint at the beginning absolutely ruins you, and you're clinging on after that 30 seconds recovery for the 2.5 minutes at 3:10 and 3:20. 5 times Swains, a PB, 26 minutes 30 seconds. I reckon averaged 330 to 350 watts up each of the 5 ascents. Time to get home, carb up, and I got a christening to go to. Well, I've just completed a backpedal.cc VO2 Max training, courtesy of Mr. Laverak. It was proper hard, and in all honesty, I fell a little bit short of the prescribed power on 2 of the blocks, but generally it was okay, kept the cadence nice and high, and there was also a few bonus sprints, which I was woeful on afterwards. However, in the warm down, I managed to skid over on the leaves. I'm onto my side. It wasn't a particularly fast crash. Got myself a little bit of grazing, you can see there. Bit embarrassing, but the bike seems to be okay, other than a bit of grazing there on the Ultegra and the handlebar. Mechanically it seems okay. Anyway, I've got to crack back on with work. The London peloton. Well, training for the Matlock hill climbs continues. Today's Saturday, 5 times Swains, 26 minutes 20, 10 seconds off my time last week. Progress, but also felt better. Did 4 of the ascents in the saddle, 1 out the saddle, and that was the worst one actually. I think the muscles just get used to a certain kind of movement. And the bell tolls, because the rain, it cometh. Time to get home for a nice spice bun. Yes, the routine is being established. And while I've had no access to my own WattBike, I've been using the gym's WattBike Pro. It's got a fan to create the resistance. Slightly different feel to it, tad harder. Anyway, on this little beast, I've been doing loads of 3-minute efforts, sometimes just 2, but focusing on Dr David Dearlove's advice, VO2 to the max.
That's 1 minute of this step, Phil. And the VO2 Max score, that was like 62 millilitres per minute, wasn't it?
During Dave's ramp test, my VO2 Max peak came during the final minute at 350 watts and is a measure of my maximum ability to extract oxygen from the air and transport it to the muscles for respiration.
VO2 to the max, i.e. 350 watts. That's why the 2 to 3 minute efforts are perfect. Trying to build the top end power. Anyway, here we go. 3 minute effort, incoming.
And as you saw in the same video of Dr. Dave, he's an advocate of the polarised approach to training for cyclists, i.e. building fitness through training at VO2 max or at or below the anaerobic threshold. The anaerobic threshold being the point at which the body has to also significantly start using glycogen in the muscles in order to supplement the mitochondria, creating energy from oxygen. So as I say, it's a polarised approach to training, save with Dr. Dave the VO2 max power range is higher than would otherwise be derived from our standard FTP test. Having used Dave's science to prepare for the Marmotte and the Fred Whitten, with a lot of time at or below my anaerobic threshold, 235 watts, I've continued therefore to use his methods in the build-up to the Zwift season.
I think this is the point. Dr. David Dearlove is saying that for VO2 max, you've got to go harder than your 20-minute FTP test would say for where the power and the watts are for VO2 max. That 3 minutes at about 355 watts was horrid. And you can see, focusing on the seated power and the nice circular pedaling technique, leading through with a heel and back with the heel on the way back up. Well, does it get any better than this? London looking absolutely sensational. I've just been in that direction, taking on just one ascent of Swains Lane, maximum effort, full gas, nothing left on the table, out the saddle, mashing for cash for all I was worth, just to get used to that kind of nasty effort that's going to confront me in Matlock in about 3 weeks' time. Also, I'm travelling north to North Wales, Snowdonia, to meet up with Nick Brownbill to take on a recce of the Giro de Wales. We're only doing 115 kilometres of his course, but it's got 3,000 metres of climbing. If we get a little bit of sun like this, it's going to be magnificent. But look at that, just take that in. Take that in. Look, we're right in the middle of the bridge here. You can just see the River Thames down there.
And I've been beavering away here in the gym, initially building back a little bit of the strength that had dissipated a bit over the course of August and September due to all the endurance events, but more recently a few gains, and I'm hoping those gains are going to help with the power and a punch in the Zwift Racing. With the kilometres on the bike low but the intensity high, the strength training in the gym is the perfect complement to the polarised approach. A slow one, hoping the form held, but a recent PB. So whether it's the super steep gradients of Honister, Hardknot or Rhinos, or the disgusting, unrelenting, perpendicular steep gradients of the Colid in Snowdonia, Nick Brownbill, thank you very much for introducing me to that beast, where as you'll see in a future video, I very nearly broke. In part, I attribute my ability to get up those climbs to my ability to get up and out the saddle and sustain big watts when it counts for anywhere from 60 seconds to 4 minutes. So, all body strength training is critical to that, in particular stability through the core, but obviously also the legs and the upper body. Trust me, the Colid is like a great workout for the arms. So here, aiming for a 1 rep max on the incline bench with 55. Confidence was clearly intent on cashing checks my body could very nearly not afford on this day. Dear me, probably ill-advised to go for the second rep, but just about, and I mean by the skin of my teeth, just about made that stick. That could have been carbon dated. It was a glacial rep. And you know my adage, if you work the front of the torso, you've got to work the back of the torso in order to avoid imbalance. So here, aiming for the 1 rep max on the chin up with 20 added. That was decent. Maybe I should have gone for a double. Well, the nervous system's ramped up to the max, so aiming here with 15 kilograms added for 3 to 4 reps, let's see.
The chin up and also the dip offer the maximum value for money when training your upper body. I hate doing the chins, but I will not relent because they provide amazing benefits for the lats, the upper back, the core and the biceps. I found that adding weight for fewer reps creates a really nice adaptation and helps me build up my reps at body weight faster than if I only use my body weight to train the chin-ups. I'm back at about 12 to 14 reps with body weight.
Just.
Fox, your PB on Swains is safe for me for a little while yet. 228, I just don't have it in me. My PB back in June, 231, and I'm not even close to that. I've had 4 attempts, and the fastest has been 237, and I reckon this one, well, that was closer to 240, maybe even 242, we'll see. Just not on top form at the moment for some reason. However, I am enjoying this sensational autumn weather here in London. I mean, look at this. So continuing with the polarised training theme, I'm going to do a couple more hill repeats on Swains of VO2 Max, trying to build the turbo a little bit. A cold London peloton. London looking magnificent. 2nd of November. So as we transition out of the hill climb season, well, it was just 2 races for me, which of course is very VO2 Max orientated and therefore perfect preparation for the Zwift Racing season. On the agenda this morning is another amazing session courtesy of backpedal.cc. So it's going to be once again focusing on the top end power but also recovering at a very high workload. Well, that was one difficult workout and I'm very happy to have got it done. I nearly didn't come out this morning. It's so cold I nearly turned back, but I knew that if I just got myself down here to beautiful Regent's Park and the beautiful autumn colours, I'd probably be able to give it a good crack. Now those first 2 blocks where you're doing a 30-second surge, well, it was going to be 400 to 450 watts, but I fell a bit short of that. Straight into 3.5 minutes at 280 watts, repeat 3 times, 5 minutes recovery, go again. They were seriously emotional. Then you get 10 minutes recovery, I think, yeah, 10. And then you do basically 7 sets of 60-45. Now I increased the power on the 60-second sets to be in line with Dave Dearlove's thesis that my VO2 max is 350. Therefore I was targeting 340 to 360 on each of the 60-second surges, but I gave myself a bit more recovery, 100 watts rather than 177 on the 45-second recoveries. You repeat those 7 times, 5 minutes recovery, then the second block of all of that, and they were pretty difficult too towards the end. Anyway, time to go home, have some breakfast, get on with work. But I reckon that's a pretty good training that's going to be accretive towards the Zwift Racing.
23 seconds away from my first race in a long time. Well, welcome one and all to the inaugural backpedal.cc race here in London, Surrey Hills, 1 Fox. And I think we stop at the top of Fox, taking it easy to the bottom of Fox, and they're going to go full gas and race Fox itself. Big bock off. Thank you very much, sir. Massive kudos to you for organising all of this.
It's going to be a huge amount of fun. For those of you who want a max effort, full gas, all of the gas, burn all of the matches, chuck a grenade into the race, hill climbing event with a little summit finish. Just coming to the bottom of Fox Hill, having to use the WattBike Pro here. Wasn't expecting to be in the gym today. The WattBike Atom is broken. It won't get out of the top gear. I nearly broke my legs yesterday trying to get it out of top resistance. Engineers coming early next week to fix it.
And here she is, looking a little bit forlorn and sorry for herself in the new temporary pain cave.
KOM is starting. Let's dial up the intensity.
Come to love and loathe the WattBike Pro. I'm not clipped in and it's also got air resistance. Therefore the pedalling has a different feel to it. There's more tension throughout the pedal stroke, especially the upstroke. And you need to really dial in your pedaling technique. At the top of the stroke, pushing down and through with your heel, and at the bottom, leading back up with the heel in order to engage your calves and hams and have a nice, energy efficient pedaling technique. I'd be grateful if you give this a like and also subscribe and hit the notification bell. There's plenty more to come from outdoors and also inside, including the live streams. Once, that is, my faithful black and red steed is fixed up by WattBike's engineer.
That was a struggle today. The perceived effort on the WattBike Pro is harder than outdoors for me. I think those of you that ride on the WattBike Pro, you get used to more resistance throughout the pedal stroke. So Lee Baxter, I know you ride the WattBike Pro, you're very good in the saddle. Partly it's the Lake District and the perpendicular climbs, but partly this little machine makes you super good in the saddle. To simulate a hill, you've got to muck around with the magnetic feeding on the right hand side, which I didn't do. Anyway, that was a lot of fun. Mick, as I say, kudos to you, sir, for organising all of this for backpedal.cc. If you fancy another crack at it, anybody, next Saturday, 7:30 AM, backpedal.cc hill climbing series.